Hello， 大家好，欢迎大家莅临由万象区块链实验室 Hashkey Group 和 Arkreen 联合组织的2025 Hong Kong Web3 嘉年华之光合链波 DePIN 的生态交响主题环节。我是今天的主持人尤英英，大家好。Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the DePIN session of Hong Kong Web3 Festival 2025, organized by Wanshant Blockchain Labs, Hashkey Group, and Arkreen. My name is Xavier Yao, and it is my absolute pleasure to be your MC for today. 那么在这个环节呢，我们将共同关注 DePIN 的生态发展遇到的挑战和机遇。我们今天非常荣幸邀请到业内的顶尖专家，他们将会为大家带来精彩的演讲和研讨。希望在今天的论坛中，大家可以深入交流，共同推动 Web3 的发展。So in this session, we have industry experts to share with us their insight and expertise on DePIN, and through the discussion, we can foster the development of Web3 ecosystem. 那么现在事不宜迟，我们先有请 Cell Geller EV3 的创始人来到台上为我们进行分享。Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Cell Geller, founder of EV3, to come up on stage to share with us. Let's welcome Cell.
Thank you. Hey everyone, thank you all for being here today. This is my third time in Hong Kong, and it's always extremely awesome to see the growth of the community out here and the progress in crypto. I am here today to talk to you about an area we've been investing at my firm behind for the past 3 years now called DePIN, or Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks. Now, for context, my name is Sal Gala. I run an investment firm called EV3. We've been investing in DePIN for the past 3 years. When we set out to build an investment firm on a new category, we had an issue that we sort of had to make sense of what the global economy meant and how crypto could disrupt that. And at EV3, we're big on analogies. And the analogy that we found to help us understand the world is that the global economy is the system of interconnected grids, much like the human body. And we actually found something really interesting, that when you look at what these core industries do, it's actually very aligned to how the systems in your body work. You have the telecom system, that's how people communicate over long distance. That's sort of like your phonatory and audio system. You have the energy system, the cardiovascular, that helps power the entire body. Sensors, that gets data from the outside world. Compute, that helps you do calculations, or your brain, and so on. And what we see is that when you add up all of these very, very core infrastructure industries in the world, you get roughly a quarter of global GDP that goes across these 8 sectors. And these are the sectors that we think DePIN is specifically well-positioned to disrupt. Now, when we set out to start EV3, once we had this framework for what the global economy is, we had to try to understand how we invest behind it in a more meaningful way. And the way that we did that was to try to find patterns in these industries, to try to understand where they're breaking and how crypto can make them better. And the pattern we kept seeing is this. It's one of these things that once you see it everywhere. And what we found was that in all of these industries, the hardware that you need, whether it's wireless routers, computer chips, storage drives, solar panels, batteries, etc., the cost of producing the actual hardware, this orange line here, had gone down tremendously, orders of magnitude over the past 2-3 decades. Much of which was due to, like across the river here in Shenzhen, we have like massive manufacturing capacity that has brought down the cost of producing all of these goods very, very low. The pattern that we noticed is that despite the cost of production going to near zero, the costs and the quality of services that got to customers was pretty much flat, or sometimes it was even worse than it was 10 or 20 years ago. And so, like, why is that? Why is it that even though it's much cheaper to create wireless routers, solar panels, cameras, the systems that we use to use these hardware are not actually any better today than they were 20 years ago? And the reason is coordination costs. We have all of the, we can make these, all these hardware at extremely cheap costs, at huge volumes now, but coordinating them is as difficult as ever. And what that means is that it's very expensive, and users don't see the benefits of all the innovation that's happened at the manufacturing and the hardware layer in the orange line. And so, for us, like, coordination costs are what crypto is uniquely able to coordinate people in a permissionless way. Besides maybe religion, it's the most powerful tool that we have to align massive amounts of humans behind doing one thing altogether. And so this is the core of DePIN. We look for industries where we see this inflection point, where the cost of production has gone down to near zero, The total cost, like the reason that customers are not getting better service is because very, very expensive coordination costs. And we look for DePIN networks that are protocols that can help coordinate this hardware much, much more efficiently and basically drive down the cost that users see from this yellow line here down to this orange line here. It's hard to talk about DePIN without AI nowadays because when we think about what are the actual things that these DePIN networks are producing, over the next 10 years, the demand is going to come primarily from AI businesses. And here I just have some visual examples to show you the unprecedented scale by which AI companies are trying to procure these different commodities. We see compute, NVIDIA has sold 5 times more chips or 3 times more chips than they did 5 years ago. There's massive amounts of data centers being built by AI companies. AI companies are procuring huge amounts of energy, like tens of gigawatts of nuclear power to power those data centers. And they're also going to data publishers and paying hundreds of millions of dollars to get the data they need in order to run their models. And these are all the 4 of the things that DePIN is extremely well positioned to provide. I wanted to give a sense, we live and breathe DePIN every day, not everybody does, so I wanted to give you all a sense of all the different types of devices and the variety and breadth of products that are being built out there. Here are a few dozen hardware devices that were launched by different DePIN projects in 2024. And you can see they go anywhere from hundreds to tens of thousands of dollars. They cover wireless routers, weather sensors, car sensors, mobile phones, smart plugs, electric vehicle chargers, GPS like enhancers, earthquake sensors, basically everything. And these things are really working. It's not just that we're producing hardware today, but these networks are capturing massive amounts of data that AI companies are using to power their products. So here we see some supply-side growth metrics for 8 of the top DePIN sensor projects. These are DePINs that are capturing, in the case of GeoNet, GPS signals, in the case of Nadix, road maps, in the case of over 3D maps. And you can see that the growth is quite explosive in a lot of these networks. Another sector of DePIN that we've been excited about but has been a little bit under the radar is logistics. Here's another 8 networks that we see growing extremely quickly that are focused on logistics. What this means is you move people or things from one place to another. We see it in, you can borrow somebody's home now, like an Airbnb, but with crypto. Food delivery, 3D printing, trucking and freight, all of these industries that have extremely heavy coordination costs are being disrupted by open DePIN networks that are allowing people to coordinate much more efficiently than before. And from an investor perspective, one of the things that gives us the conviction to put basically all of our capital and time and attention behind DePIN is the massive market size. I can't understate this enough, but even the leading DePIN networks today, here at the bottom, many of these have $1 billion valuations or more today. They're literally less than 1% of their end markets. These things can grow 1,000 times and still be capturing only a fraction of their total global potential. And what this means is that, for us, these are incredibly ambitious networks. These are networks that you can work on for 10, 20, 30 years, and they're effectively upside uncapped. You will basically never run out of customers in DePIN, and that's why, as investors, we think that the biggest networks will be extremely powerful. And I wanted to take some time to talk specifically about a couple of EV3 portfolio companies and give you guys a sense of the wide range of industries that DePINs are trying to disrupt. So just to give you guys a couple, Dawn in the top right corner is a fixed wireless network providing home internet to people for half or a third of the cost that a traditional fiber network might give you. We see virtual power plants, we have verifiable identity networks, machine intelligence and AI networks, 3D printing networks, influencer marketing, we have an animal identity network, sort of like Chewy but on-chain, satellite tracking. All of these industries are effectively coordination problems at the end of the day. They all use either batteries or solar panels or computer chips to create these networks, and these are some of the companies that we're most excited to invest behind. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you all for listening and on the live stream. We at EV3 are investing really heavily behind DePIN. We have just raised a new $50 million fund to invest behind early stage DePIN projects. And so if anyone out here, I'll be in Hong Kong for the next 4 days. If anyone wants to chat about DePIN ideas or about your companies, please reach out to me. They're on Telegram or at our website, and I would love to speak to you all. That's all I have. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Sel, for your wonderful sharing, so letting us knowing more about EV3. So our next sessions will begin in 5 minutes, so we will see you in 5 minutes. And the next sessions will be presented by Leo Lind, Arkreen's founder. So we'll see you in 5 minutes. See you soon. Hello， 大家好。那么马上会开始我们下一个环节。So now we're going to have our keynote presentation, and the topic will be a global decentralized energy network to unlock new assets of DERS with on-chain economies. And now, without any further ado, I would like to invite the founder of Arkreen, Mr. Leo Lind, to come up on stage and share with us. Let's welcome Leo.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Liu, the founder of Arkreen. It's really happy to be here to introduce Arkreen as a DePIN energy project. And thank you for your time to be here today. Let's start with the question. Have you noticed that the energy world is undergoing the massive the transformation? On one side, those decentralized traditional power plants, those old giant burning the coal and oil. On the other side, the distributed renewable energy resources are popping up everywhere. The solar on the roof, the wind turbine in the countryside. So we call it the DER, distributed renewable energy resources, and they are the growing like the wildfire. So at the same time, the way we are using the electricity is changing too. So like the AI, the digital application, electric vehicle, the robotics. So all those things are using the power, using the energy. But the demand is incredibly decentralized. It's not the big factory anymore. It's millions of small things using the electricity all the world. So the challenge is how can we connect those long-tail small energy producer with equally long-tail small energy producer, together. So it's just like the, try to pieces the millions, the puzzle pieces together without the full picture to guide you. So we are using DePIN to solve those puzzles. So it sounds fancy, but it's quite the straightforward. DePIN using the blockchain technology, the on-chain protocol, and the token incentive to let the global community to build a network from the bottom up. And the blockchain can issue the data is reliable, and also help the global community can be coordinate each other. So what is exactly the Arkreen the doing? So imagine the global the network. It's connect the renewable energy resources, like the solar panel on the roof, like the storage battery in the garage, and allow them to be managed and traded over the network. So the blockchain technology help the energy data is reliable and let the value flow freely, access the whole, the network. And it's not just the tracking the energy, anymore. It's just like the taking the energy, something like the people can use and trade the energy freely and securely and the flexibly. So the key of the Arkreen is community coordination, and it's allow the energy user and the producer with the equal opportunity, no matter where it is in the world. And it's also create the very fair, the environment to allow the community to do the coordination. So it's created by the community for the community. And let's take a look how the Arkreen is connect the energy devices in the supply side. So we are using the 3 smart way to do it. And each way will tailor to the different, the needs. So the first way is we call the hardware model. And we are using the smart meter. It's a smart device and attached to the existing solar system. And connecting the energy data and uploading to the broadchain directory. And it's working with what they are there already, and no major change required. So they can run, the roll up globally. The second way is the API model. So we are partnered with the solar inverter manufacturer and globally, and connecting their devices with the API integration. And that is, we are able to tap quickly into the 100 gigawatt of the home solar capacity in the world. And, it's just like we are plugged into the massive, the ready-made energy network. The third way is the subscription mode. So if you do not have the solar panel, your own solar panel, but you still want to get involved, that's for you. So you can subscribe the real-time energy data, from the remote solar station without any hardware. It's lower the barrier to entry, and also get the more people to join the energy innovation. So let's what we have achieved so far in the past year. The Arkreen phase 1, the progress is amazing. We are connected 200,000 the solar energy data node with across over the 50 countries, and it generated 120 million the kilowatt hour green energy, and it's enough to power the small city for 1 year, and uploading the 100 million the data point into the broadchain. Issue that everything is the transparent and the trustworthy. But it's just the beginning, and the next big goal for us is to connect the 1 million the solar energy data in the coming 2 to 3 years. And that will, the supercharge the Arkreen ecosystem and bring the people and the renewable energy, the resources into the ecosystem. So we have all of those energy data, and what's the next? How can we turn the energy data, into something valuable? So that's what the demand side comes in. So we've pioneered a way to transforming the energy data to the valuable environment asset. It's kind of a carbon credit. We call the REC, the Renewable Energy Certificate. And we use the Arkreen ARAC protocol to generate the tokenized RAC based on the solar energy data on the broadchain. And those RAC can be used to offset the carbon emission caused by the brown energy consumption on the broadchain. So let's give the several examples. In the retail side, we have the Green BTC Club, and to give the community member to use the RAC to offset the historical carbon emission of the Bitcoin network. And in the Platform Green program, we enable the people, the user, to monitor the daily electricity consumption of their home appliance. Then they can do the on-chain offsite for the 100% renewable energy. So that makes every day the people can take some, the action to make the impact on the chain. Then on the enterprise side, the Cello Foundation purchased Arkreen, the RAC to offset their ecosystem, the carbon emission, and to achieve their ecosystem carbon neutral. And we are also exploring more, the use case. For example, the enterprise can enable their user to offset the brown energy consumption caused by the language model, the ChatGPT, the AI, the inference computation. So we are turning the energy data to the value in the broadchain, and close loop from the data collection to the application for the monetization. And we have, the issue and the use the 120 million, the kilowatt hour green energy, the renewable energy certificate, and complete the 1 million, the on-chain offsite transaction. So we are aiming higher. So we wanted the ARKREN protocol could be the standard for the on-chain carbon neutrality with the tokenized RAG, and to be, the offsite as the, the Web3 carbon neutrality standard, and also as the go-to benchmark for the on-chain climate, the action. And in the retail side, we are hoping to build the largest RAG retail market in the world, and targeting the 1 million, the user to offsite the 1 billion, the brown energy, kilowatt-hour brown energy consumption. So we are driving the massive adoption of the renewable energy. So let's look ahead the Arkreen phase 2, and we are taking what we have done and leveling up as the, the midterm, the long-term roadmap. So firstly, we will moving from the one-way data collection to the two-way, the interaction. So it's not just, using the network to gathering the data, but also control the energy devices remotely through the network. And imagine the network can schedule the power, the solar system to feed the power to the demand side. And so we are using the API, the software API or the hardware data logger to make this happen. Secondly, we are expanding above the solar to the storage battery, and to cover the renewable energy, the scenario. And there is quite, the interesting, the cool things happen. And we are partnering with one of the leading battery manufacturer, A123, and we'll start the field trial soon in this month in Germany. The third one is that we'll launch the decentralized virtual power plant application. And that will enable the user to openness, permissionless, connect the manager and also trade, monetize the renewable energy resources, even in the off-grid, the scenario. That's very important. And we were using the edge AI computing to consume the local electricity. And to build the bunch of the virtual power plant, with the operated independently, but also connect each other in the global, the network. And additionally, we are also exploring how to monetize the electricity via the DeFi protocol, like the leasing, staking, lending. And the goal is to create the global energy network, and where the green energy asset could be traded peer-to-peer without any middleman. So let's dive a little bit to the phase 2. So we are rolling out 2 awesome, the scenario, and which will show how the decentralized energy to sync up and for the global scale. So pick this. The level 1 is home, the living in the sunny area, and this house has it's just like the mini, the power, the hub. So the solar panel on the roof, the storage battery in the garage, and the high power computing server, the ceiling in the basement. So normally, those solar system output the more, the energy than they use. And that server, it's sitting there, most of the time. So with the Arkreen, everything's a chain. So those are actual solar energy, and idle the computing, the muscle turning into something, the valuable. And the server will spring to the life and crushing the AI server and the data processing for the startup in the San Francisco or the researcher in the Tokyo, all based on their own the clean energy. As the return, they will package the cash or the token to transform the home to the global innovation hotspot to fulfill the global, the demand. And, they got the actual cash, and it's also the big win for the planet. It's clean energy to power the, the digital world. Then we are imaging the right side, it's a lively village in Africa. And there is shared, the off-grid community solar station, lightening the home, the market, the school, and the villagers tap into the clean energy with the blockchain app on the phone. They pay just as what they use. So it's a very simple, very fair, and also put in control. Behind it, the solar station, this solar station will be tokenized as the real asset and catch the eye to the investor worldwide who want to back the green and the impact project. So those money will go to build more the solar station and cut the energy costs and also sparkling the local growth. So it's a perfect, the cycle. The community get the affordable and reliable energy, and the investors see the return and the impact, and the clean energy can be spread further. So this solar station enable the this village as the beacon of the progress to proving the decentralized solution can the lift up the whole the region. So above those two the scenario, whether it's a home turning to the mini the power hub, or this community lightening their future with the solar. All represent the Arkreen's vision to make the renewable energy as the public resources for everyone, and our mission is to connect the global renewable energy resources and using the on-chain protocol to connect, to manage, and also unlock the exchange the value. So we are not just building the net, we are creating the green future for the planet. So let's make this happen, and that's my sharing, and thank you for your time. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Leo, for your wonderful sharings on Arkreen, so giving us a great insight on a global decentralized energy network. So moving on, we're going to have a roundtable panel discussions, and then the speakers will be talking about new trends in DePIN. 那么下一个环节呢，我们将会有一个圆桌讨论，会在讨论 DePIN 的新趋势。Today, we're very honored to invite 4 different speakers to come up and share with us. So before inviting them on stage, so let me give you a brief introduction about each speaker. So we will be hearing from Henry Santiago, founder of Be Limitless Venture, and also Eo Hout, founder of Future Money Group, also Will Wang, partner of Generative Ventures, and also Zheng Yusan, founding partner of Water Drip Capital. So they'll be sharing with us the new trends and also the future in DePIN. And now, without any further ado, I would like to invite our 4 speakers to come up on stage. Let's welcome Henry, Eod, Will, and Mr. Zheng Yusan. Please come up on stage. Let's welcome them on stage. 好，有请4位可以移步来到台上。So please be seated according to the order of your names at the back. So Henry, you'll be seating over here. And then we'll be followed by Eod and Will and Mr. Zheng. And without any further ado, I'm going to pass over the stage to you, Henry.
Thank you so much. I guess if you are here, you already know what DePIN is, decentralized physical infrastructure. But DePIN is really not about memes, right? Last 1 year, the crypto market was pretty much driven by memes, meme coins, and a lot of things that didn't have real use cases. But now we are finally shifting more towards DePIN, which is the crypto that really has revenue and intrinsic value. I think if one day, if Warren Buffett invests in crypto, it will be in a DePIN project, right? Because it really has real on-chain revenue.
I like that.
So let's start with some introductions. So I will start with Eo. Okay, yep. So Eo is from Future Money. Can you tell us a bit more about what you do in your background?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me here. My name is Eo, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I'm an investor. So back in 7 or 8 years ago, we founded a Future Money Group. So we invest in different things in crypto. my interest to invest something different, something people choose to overlook. And back in, I guess, 2022, I think DePIN is a pretty overlooked sector in crypto because people love to hype around layer ones or anything like infrastructure token. But we think DePIN is a fat tail in crypto, and it can actually create external value. That's something even more exciting, as you mentioned. Something that could be fundamentally analyzed. So we jump into the rabbit hole about 3 years ago. We basically invest full stack in DePIN, from manufacturing, hardwares, venture capital deals, and also we have a secondary fund which is called DePIN Index. So we index about like 25 DePIN tokens. We track their performance. We just built this portfolio. So far we are pretty good and pretty happy with the future of DePIN.
Okay, that DePIN index sounds very interesting. I want to learn more about it, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. Will, so Will is the founding partner at Generative Ventures. We have invested, in fact, we are all here in the VC space, right? And actually we have a few projects that we have invested in common in the past, including DePIN projects. So Will, can you tell us a bit about yourself and Generative Ventures?
Thank you. So I have been doing venture capital for 15 years. We started with investing in mobile internet with money from Bertelsmann, which is the largest media company in Europe. And we spin off our crypto investment practice 2 years ago to invest in the next generation fintech. So we look at the crypto from a purely fintech perspective, and we think fintech is all about matching the capital and also the asset. And also we think the machine could be the next generation asset for a born natively for crypto. So that's why we had an investment thesis in DePIN. And also internally, we call it not DePIN, we call it machine economy, because we for sure in the future, the physical AI will be a big part of the economy. And we think it's also be relevant to fintech and finance. And also crypto will be a big part of it. So that's why we had a thesis for DePIN. And also in our fund, we have a kind of like both angel check and also a Series A check for DePIN as well. I think we have shared project in Peak and also in a couple of DePIN projects as well. So far we are happy with all the tractions of these deals and also the market performance as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, I agree with you. I prefer the term machine economy over DePIN. Yeah. And Yushan from Waterdrip Capital also investing very actively in DePIN, right?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Yeah, this is Yushan from Waterdrip Capital. I entered crypto industry like 10 years ago, and before that, I was an engineer. I was doing chips design, so that's why I'm so familiar with the hardware stuff, and I'm very interested in DePIN like 3 years ago. And Waterdrip Capital actually was founded 7 years ago with a few friends of mine, and originally we were in Shanghai, and then we moved to Hong Kong right here. And we were one of the very first capitals who got crypto license in Hong Kong. So currently we are managing 4 funds, one secondary market, one VC, and one Bitcoin only, and one hedging fund. Yeah. And why we are interested in DePIN, as I said, I was a chip design engineer, so I think the machine economy or the hardware stuff is my interest. And also because we are based in China, and China is good at manufacture. So I think compared with all the other topics like ZK, like layer 2 and all those software stuff, so probably we have some advantages in hardware stuff. Yeah, that's why we invest in DePIN.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much for the introduction. And finally, my name is Henry. I used to work for HashK Capital, where we have invested in Peak, for example, project that I think we almost all here know very well. Currently, I'm a venture partner at Harbor Industrial Capital, and I work closely with other projects, including Peak, and also investing at Be Limitless Ventures. All right, so let's start with Io. So with Future Money, right, you guys started a DePIN accelerator. Sounds very exciting. Started, I think, late 2023.
24.
24. Can you tell us a bit about the accelerator and what excites you the most in the DePIN space that you have been incubating or accelerating?
Yeah, sure. So for us, I think DePIN is like a multi-disciplinary sort of field, and you need different talents, you need different resources, and we basically teamed up with I think IoTex and Foresight Ventures. We picked them because IoTex, there are great ways of infrastructure, technology, all the tokenomics. They're veterans in crypto. And also Foresight Ventures, they are experienced investors as well, and they have great outreach in Asia. So we team up with these two partners, and we launched this DePIN accelerator I think last year, and we actually ended up receiving more than I think 200 applications, which is I would call it a success, I think. And we've seen very, very interesting innovations in the accelerator itself. Something we never seen before, something that totally come outside of the box of pure crypto people. We've seen interesting tracks like weather, we call it WeatherFi, and also we see interesting projects in energy. These are very interesting, I think, fields where the Wall Street firms are spending over hundreds of millions of dollars building infrastructure and collecting data in. And I think these are very, very highly compatible with the blockchain technology, because we're so good with decentralized building, distributed systems, collecting data from the real world, and bring them on chain and tokenize these assets. And I think in the future we're going to see more and more innovations in this field. We do not only limit ourselves with the thesis of DePIN, but rather a field where we can bridge the on-chain and digital and physical. We tend to look into the cross-border of both digital and physical. We call it phygital, the phygital connection in the AI era. And I think so you can keep looking into this field.
So you briefly talked that you have invested in WeatherFi, which is very interesting. This is the first time I hear the term WeatherFi, and also energy. Among these DePIN sectors, what are the ones that you are most bullish about?
I think they're still these projects are still very in their early stage. And I think, as you mentioned, WeatherFi, I think the reason I think weather is an interesting field is because I talked to my friends at Citadel, the trading firm. They have the team. They have team of hundreds of people trading commodities related to the weather, and that is like a market you can create limitless derivatives out of weather or specific incidents in the real world. I think that is very crypto. That is a very crypto thing to me, and also I think AI can grab and generate data from the internet, but it's very hard for AI or for AI agents to generate something that is happening right now, right here, somewhere in specific parts of the world. So we need build the infrastructure like hardware and also oracles to bring this data on chain. So that's why I think the whole thing makes sense. Same with energy and a lot of other areas.
Okay, I can definitely see weather trading and weather arbitrage potentially happening there, right?
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. Yushan, so at Waterdrip Capital, so far you guys have invested in over 200 different projects, right? And probably a good number of them are DePIN projects. Can you give some examples and tell us what you think about the future of DePIN? What excites you the most in this space?
Well, we have invested in over 30 projects in the past 2 years in this DePIN area. And the reason why we moved from all the other topics to DePIN is if you look at the current market, it's really bad. It's crashing, especially for altcoins. Bitcoin is great. Bitcoin will increase 10 times in coming years, but for altcoins, I doubt it. I'm not sure. The reason is that people are tons of tokens are generated every day. So most of them are, don't have any value. So some of them are just for hyping trade or for emotional trading. So in other words, they are gambling. They didn't deliver any value. So this is why the reason that the smart money are living. When the smart money is living, so what will be left? You know, the shit coins, right? But for DePIN projects, they are totally different. For most of the projects, most of the DePIN projects we have invested in, they have some revenue, or even they have some profits. For example, we invested in one project called Jumbo phone. This is a DePIN phone. So they have already sold probably more than 500,000 or 700K, around 700K phones in the past 1.5 years. So that means they have revenue, they have good revenue, they have good profits, and they are sustainable. And they can use their profits to buy back and burn their tokens. And I don't worry about their token price. So if more and more projects learn from Jumbo and they have their real cash inflow, and what will become for our crypto market, I think it will be much better than now. And before our panel, I was discussing with Will that probably for those projects, they don't need to issue token if in this market, all the tokens are shitcoins. And for those good projects, they won't live here. They will issue shares instead of tokens. So I think we count on DePIN projects to change the current situation. Yeah, and that's why we prefer exploring in DePIN area. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, because a lot of the crypto haters say, oh, crypto is not backed by anything. And meme coins are definitely not backed by anything, but unfortunately, over the last couple of years, we see many crypto institutions, including exchanges, for example, prioritizing listing meme coins over listing actually projects with like DePIN projects, for example. And I think we need to get real about crypto, about on-chain revenue, and DePIN projects you have from weather projects, the example of the mobile phone, self-driving cars, tokenization of solar panels, and so on. And these are projects that bring on-chain revenue that really bring intrinsic value to crypto, right, and bring real value to crypto. So that's very exciting that you are focusing on that. Will, what's your take on this? And Generative Ventures, also super active in investing in crypto infrastructure. You have invested in Peak, for example. Can you tell us a bit more about your investment thesis and how do you see infrastructure and even the connection between DePIN and AI?
Yeah, our investment thesis recently is very clear. I think there were two kind of assets going into this market to replace the hype of or the downturn of the altcoins. The first kind of asset is called public goods. We think that the projects with real value but has no revenue can be cryptonized and also be priced in this market. And sadly, we haven't seen this in the past 10 years. For example, how can we tokenize Wikipedia? How can we tokenize DeepSeek open source version? How can we tokenize Linux? These are the open source project, has real value, no revenue, cannot be priced in the equity market, but should be priced by the token. But the founders of them cannot go into this market, and they don't want to, or they cannot do it. So there should be a way to tokenize these public goods and also have a pricing in this market. I think crypto is perfect to price those projects, I said, without revenue, but with real value. So these are the things that I think will go into the market to replace the current oversupply and offering of all these altcoins. And DePIN is part of this. So if there is a physical infrastructure that cannot generate revenue, but is really benefiting to the users, for example, in weather, in data. Yesterday I talked to a company called Protect Campus from drone attack, and they use some kind of device, and they're called themselves DePIN. So if these things, if this network is recognized by the user, recognized by the user means that they have value, but they maybe cannot generate sizable revenues, they can be tokenized and have a price. But we don't expect this price to be ridiculously high. We think there will be some moderate, medium price in the market that is giving pricing to these public goods projects. So this is the first. And second, I think it's going into the market is called RWA. But what I said is, if you want mainstream financial money going in this market, you need to have mainstream financial assets. And here in this market, we don't have. Bitcoin is not mainstream financial asset. Ethereum is not. The only mainstream financial asset is T-bills. But we still have, Ondo is only doing wrapping for this T-bill. We don't have chain native generated T-bill in the market. So when the Ministry of Finance or whatever in US is launching the native generated T-bill in the crypto, and we're seeing that in the RWA, that will create a risk-free asset layer for the whole market, and then will attract mainstream money into this sector. Otherwise, only Bitcoin will attract mainstream money into this sector because the others are not recognized as mainstream. And lastly, I think we have to re-evaluate this market from a perspective of financial influence. So yesterday, I wrote a tweet about Ethereum and Solana. If you consider Ethereum as an asset management company, it's the same size as Santander Bank, which is only a 100 billion company. If you compare it to MasterCard, it is a 500 billion market. So the sadness of Ethereum is outsourcing all the payment solutions to layer 2 and only leaving the asset management business at the layer 1. So that's why the value of Ethereum is going down, because asset management is less valuable than the payment networks, which always has a monopoly and also have premium on their profits. And also for Solana, if you consider as asset management company, it's only several billion. It's even smaller than the largest P2P in China. But if you consider it as a payment network, it's transacting $1 trillion a year. It's 1/9 of MasterCard, which is, Solana valuation is 1/9 of MasterCard right now. So if you evaluate all these projects from the perspective of financial impact, it's pretty clear all of the projects are in fair value right now. But also for the altcoin, I think it's not in fair value, it's overvalued, because most of the altcoin does not have any financial impact in the real world. But I think DePIN will have, because in the future, if we pay daily to the robo-taxi when we want to go out, and it's a huge economy, and also if your computer is using, for example, product like Manus generating real revenue, you can call itself a general AI agent, but if your local server and computation is really generating revenue and value, I think these machines can be priced in the long term. So I think that's why our vision on DePIN is more on the AI influence on the machines that generating revenue, generating productivity, will be priced in the end as well. So my take is all the altcoins right now are overvalued in terms of financial impact, but there's a potential in the future on revenue-generating, productivity-generating machines can be priced and transact in the future, and also data. Right? Data will be more and more valuable in the future, and there is no real data exchange, not talking about Vana and shit projects. There are no real data exchange in the market that can transact AI-empowered data. So we need that kind of infrastructure as well. So a lot to be done by the VCs.
So this on-chain revenue that is being generated by the machine economy can bring us to machine finance, right? Where we can have DePIN projects, machine economy projects, where we can tokenize revenue, we can tokenize bonds that self-repay according to the revenue that is generated on-chain. So it's a total new world of DeFi that we can call machine-fi, right?
My clarification is like, crypto can tokenize impact, not revenue. So if there's a real financial impact, Ethereum has no revenue. Revenue only goes to stakers. Ethereum network itself has no revenue, but has a huge financial impact. So crypto is tokenizing impact, first of all. Second, it's not also tokenizing value. I think equity market is actually pricing revenue. We are pricing asset. So asset may have revenue, but also asset can also have no revenue but scarcity. Bitcoin is an asset has no revenue but scarcity. So we are also pricing scarcity in a way. So I think pricing scarcity and tokenizing impact is the key to enlarge your influence in the crypto market, not tokenizing revenue, because revenue is not a scarcity here. Every company can have some revenue, so it's not scarcity, it's not unique. It cannot have a premium on the price. But revenue in aggregation can be priced in equity market and had a fair price, and sometimes has a hype because there's a short of supply of equity-backed crypto-related project and revenue in the equity market. But there were so many oversupply of the crypto alternative narrative-driven project in here in the crypto market. Even not only for Web3, even for Web2, there are 800 unicorns in US and 500 unicorns in China going to be listed. It's also an oversupply. So you only see the price hype of the Magnificent Seven, but not the price hype of all the other assets in the equity market. So we are trying to find scarcity. We're trying to find impact. That's the thing that I think will be valued in the long term in the crypto market. Yeah.
Awesome. Io, do you have any take on what Will just said?
Yeah, I mean, I like what Will just said, and to his point, I think I'm a big supporter of tokenizing everything, digitize everything. I think in the future, in probably 5 years to come, we're going to probably tokenize and digitize everything. First of all, we human beings, we're going to be digitized. We're going to be digitized as digitized, creatures. We're going to live in the metaverse. We're going to live in the computer instead of like just have the physical being. The AI algorithms and agents will, keep us, in eternity in the digital world. And also, we're going to be able to price everything. They say everything has a price, and I agree with that. I mean, it may sound a little bit crazy, but we can literally price everything, here in this room. Maybe your table, your bottle of water, your pair of glasses, your pair of shoes, and also every single human activity can be priced. We can price, we can predict, we can hedge against, all the good and bad things in our life. We can probably predict whether it rains next week in Bangalore, to hedge the change in corn price in New Delhi. We can probably generate a decentralized CPI index, which could be more accurate and even cheaper, faster than what the government does. I think this is going to be replaced by a lot of like technology and startups, and Web3 people, instead of relying on centralized entities. I'm pretty sure this is going to happen. And what I'm pretty happy about this recent meme token craze is that we should probably learn from the new generations, where like people who trade meme coins, who call themselves like degens. We should probably learn from these people and try to connect these two worlds. We should probably use DePIN networks to collect the data and generate tokens where people can trade and bet or hedge against the price changing these tokens, to create a dynamic market for everything in this world, physical things or human activities or whatsoever you call it. This is a DePIN world that I'm happy to see. Yeah. That's my take.
I really like what you said regarding everything can be priced, and blockchain and especially DePIN infrastructure can bring us the infrastructure that we need to price everything in a more transparent manner, which brings huge opportunities in so many different areas. Do you think we have already the infrastructure needed to scale DePIN? I know that Future Money has been investing in this space. What's your opinion?
We're looking for like there are two different theses. One is like it's like layer one blockchains. Like some people think there's gonna be a monolithic layer ones for all. It's like they're one single solution for all. But to me, I think it's more like different pieces of Lego. You have to like build them together. As I mentioned, I think we should probably learn from what people call the crypto casino, and we should find the positive use cases for this casino. What if we connect the casino, the back end of a casino, to something that collects data from like say agriculture? What if we combine these two? What if we find the positive externality of say crypto casino? I think this is going to be something that's going to be like very infrastructural to what we want to build, what we intend to build. I don't think things happen in a linear way. Things only happen in a non-linear way, and we should probably be prepared for that. So I think that's what VCs and early stage investors are positioned for.
Yeah, you have been focusing a bit on the weather side. Now I cannot recall the project, but there is a DePIN project that launched a weather satellite, and with the latest AI capabilities, they can predict the weather like with 99% accuracy, which is really cool, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah.
Do you know this? I cannot recall the project now, but they launched a satellite for weather.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think like even before Web3, there are like bunch of projects out there already. They're supplying this data to hedge funds and making a pretty legit revenue. I think they have a legit business model. And if we can just decentralize and tokenize the entire business, I think that's going to be even more efficient. Probably takes only like 3 to 5 engineers to do this business instead of like 50 people, do a data supply business. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's continue talking about the intersection between DePIN and machine economy and AI. Yushan, what do you think we are going to see emerging from DePIN with AI? We will see like AI agents managing machines that are owned by DAOs. Like, is it going to be fleets of full self-driving cars managed by AIs, which are managed by a DAO? How do you see this happening?
Well, this is a very interesting question. So we know AI is dominating the whole world, not only crypto, but also the rest of the world. And the intersection of crypto and AI is also very important. I believe that it will bring a lot of innovations here. And some of them are just unimaginable. So people said that blockchain technology might be invented not for human being, but for AI and robots. Because for human being, we are governed by governments and policemen. But for AI, they are only live in on internet, and they don't have a governor. And if they want to live freely, and they need some technology to guarantee their liberty, and that is blockchain technology. And for those innovations, I believe there will be some really new stuff. For example, from my imagination or from my anticipation, I believe that in future there will be 3 layers for the whole world. And the first layer, or the fundamental layer, is the trusted environment, and that is guaranteed by blockchain technology. And the middle layer is some protocols, like DePIN protocol or DeFi protocol and all the other protocols. And the third layer is some applications, like DePIN application or DeFi application, or and etc. So in this way, or in this environment, and the AI can be very has very high. It's very beneficial for the AI applications. And I'll give you an example. So I talked with the founder of Jumbo, and originally they were just it's a mobile phone. It is similar to the traditional phones. There are many apps, and they have some Web3 wallet, and you can use the tokens right there. And it's very traditional. It's no difference. But they are targeting to change their phone into AI phone. How? They integrate AI agents. And means when you open the phone, there's no apps, because we have a lot of apps. In my phone, I have more than 100 apps. That's very time-consuming if I want to find some apps. And in future, we have a few agents, some for our travel management, some for our financial stuff, and some agents for our personal entertainment. And in this way, we don't need so many apps, and we just need some AI agents. And whether we need a DAO or not to manage all those AI agents, I'm not sure, because behind the DAOs, there are human beings. We want to get rid of the human beings. We don't need human beings. We just need trusted environment to run it automatically, and that's it. DAO is not a good it's not a good try, From my previous experience, there's no one DAO run perfectly. From the Ethereum Foundation or from some, decentralized DAO, it cannot get rid of human being totally. So it's not a good experiment. Yeah. I would rather run it, automatically by some trusted environment. Yeah, which is guaranteed by blockchain technology, of course.
Exactly. So I recently read this paper. I cannot recall now who wrote the paper, but it's about the post-web world, where actually we will no longer interface with normal web UI, right? We will interface only with AI agents, and we ask the AI agents to do whatever we want them to do, right? Which is kind of what you were talking about. Will, how do you see the intersection with DePIN and AI, and what are the use cases that that you are looking at? And how do you see, do you have the infrastructure already necessary to integrate this? I'm very excited about some projects. Recently I was looking at Ex Machina. Ex Machina is a spin-off from Peak, tokenizing machines, and they are integrated with Fetch AI for AI agent coordination. So we can potentially have AI agents, right, managing the machines.
Yeah, we also invest in that project. I'm really excited about the founder. But I have to agree with Dashan. I think all the DAOs, most of the DAOs doesn't work, and most of them are criminal groups. So I really hate DAOs. Anyone come to me and tell me it's a DAO, I think you should be sent to prison. So because it's all involve human, and you claim that it's kind of like a protocol-driven whatever shit, but it's actually human behind. So I think DAOs are criminal groups, mostly to me. For AI and crypto, there will be huge intersection, but not in the way that currently people are thinking. I think, first of all, we have to really tokenize the open source AI projects because they don't have revenue, they have impact. So find a way to put those assets into our world and let people get excited about it and to support those open source projects. And recently, I think people in crypto are talking about the model context protocol, right? MCP stuff, that there is a kind of like a open market and protocol-driven market network of application servers and also AI capabilities. I think this is also a big question for people not in crypto, but in cryptography, because MCP will involve a lot of trust and trustless issues in the future if you want AI to really leverage capabilities of the other servers and help and do things in representing the user. So I think in the long term, there are a huge topic in MCP, I think, for crypto. I hate all the all the decentralized whatever computing and whatever decentralized whatever data stuff. I think they price themselves too quick. They have to really ship something first. My belief is there will be a decentralized network of computing when local hosting and running and inference of the models on local servers and computers will happen in the next maybe 2 quarters, a year. You know, currently DeepSeek cannot run on mobile in the full stack. So we still need several generations of models to do that. But I believe there will be real decentralized network of computing machines in the future. Thinking about the computer and laptop at home can doing things that the typical university students can do in an internet environment. It's called agent. It's called some kind of low-level AGI. Is university graduates level of intelligence processing internet data. So if your computer can do that, generate output, productivity, I think there will be a time you will price that machine at home if it is really delivering some kind of GDP. So I think that kind of network will emerge with the evolution of AI. So that's why I spend 99% of my time right now in real AI stuff, not in crypto AI stuff, and I try to get a sense of it. And I believe most of the crypto investors cannot get access to those projects because crypto investors in Silicon Valley are ranked very low compared to the other AI investors. So if you're a responsible crypto investor and you're interested in AI, try to make yourself legit to talk to these AI founders, get real sense of what's going on, and then go back to crypto because you can always go back to crypto. It's a very free financial market. You can always come back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good take. And you just briefly talk about MCP, Model Context Protocol, which is, you can call it like APIs on steroids for AI agents to get data from real world. And I was just looking at the Uki robot there with Niels. And the Uki is actually a project is kind of doing this, right? Which is a decentralized machine perception to bring real world data, environment data, and navigation data for AIs and robots to be able to navigate the world, which is quite interesting. Io, what's your views on the AI and DePIN use cases and the stage, and how do you see the world 5 years from now?
Bullish. No, I was just kidding. If one word, just bullish. I know it's a hard time now, but I'm still bullish. I'm still optimistic, and I think my unpopular opinion is that if a lot of AI startups, if they keep failing raising money from traditional capital markets, they'll come to crypto. And I think that is the intersection between crypto and AI. We have to prove ourselves as crypto professionals. We have to prove ourselves to be faster, cheaper, and more efficient than the traditional crypto markets. Then more and more talents will come into crypto and build crypto native AI applications. I think that's where, something interesting will happen. And I think that is the intersection, my opinion.
And Yushan, how do you see the world 5 or 10 years from now with DePIN, machine economy, AI?
No crypto?
And crypto, yeah.
Including crypto, right? Yeah, well, as I said, in 5 or 10 years, I believe that many AI applications will, touch ground and go into thousands of, go into the families or go into the common people. So I think, and especially for the combination of DePIN and AI, this is very important, I think, for us crypto guys. Yeah, and recently we have just invested in one project. It's called EdgeX. It's a combination of DePIN and AI. I think I can take this as an example. So it's a necklace and with a small box, and you can ask it anything because there's a DeepSeek model integrated inside it, and it replaces the traditional voice box or other stuff, non-AI stuff, and this is a combination. This is a cooperation project between Swarm's community and a Chinese team, and when the Swarm's team have a video call with this Shenzhen with this team from Shenzhen, China, they were shocked by the price of this hardware, and they thought that the price should be like $100. Actually, it's less than $10, and this means that the first step we need to make it as cheap as possible, to make it affordable to everybody, to the retail side. And then, for the DePIN stuff. And then people will have a lot of opportunity, and even for the poor guys, even for everybody, they can afford it. And then the DePIN devices will go into thousands and tens of thousands families, and they can use it. And then they understand that the combination between tokens and the devices is valuable. And then they understand that after you integrate AI big model, and it will help them to improve their quality of their life. And this is what I'm anticipating in the 5 or 10 years. Yeah.
You touched a very important point, which is one of the biggest entry barriers is the cost of hardware, right?
Of course.
I want to get opinion from all of you on this, because DePIN in machine economy allows us to lower the entry barrier, because if we can tokenize a solar farm and a power grid, potentially communities can bootstrap these solar farm, a small fleet of self-driving cars. But what's missing for that to happen? Is it regulations? Is it awareness? What are the next steps to have this kind of bootstrapping expensive projects, and this could shift the power from big corporations to communities and individuals. But I guess there are still some barriers for that to happen, right?
Well, I want to mention that the recent tariff between, or the, trade war between China and the US. After the trade war, I think the device will be much more expensive in the West than in the East. But blockchain is borderless. We don't have a border between blockchain, and even for DePIN devices, you can buy it from China with a very cheap price. And you can, for each DePIN device, it can be an NFT. You can buy a NFT, and then you have the hardware stuff. And it's much cheaper. And it will break the war between different countries due to the political stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we need kind of to wrap up. Will and Io, what's your final take on the next steps for DePIN mass adoption?
Recently, we invested in a project. They are trying to sell user both a consumer product and also a crypto token. And they emphasize a lot on how to build their consumer product in a very good way. They're trying to compete with PopMart, and they're trying to build something physical, aesthetically really perfect, and it's really beautiful. And people buy this consumer product, and they gift them with the token. So I think that makes me excited, because even 3 years ago in the NFT stage, we tried to tokenize, for example, Banksy paints or art pieces, but still failed, because at that time the transaction fee for having an NFT on Ethereum is so high. You have to pay like $3, $5 per transaction, which means all the NFTs have to be priced at $10K US, and that's the threshold for people to participate in a legit blue chip NFT. But nowadays, transaction on Base and also on Solana is super cheap. I think we still need to find a way to tokenize those art pieces, those rare stuff, those rare physical stuff in the long term. I think there will be a time people can collect these stuff. So I am not really addicted to DePIN the word. I'm addicted to, if the transaction cost lowered, what kind of asset can we bring to this market and make the transaction more cost efficient than the traditional equity financial market? So I think if in the future DePIN means like a small piece of machine generating profit and productivity should be priced, I think the only way to have a pricing and exchange on these objects is via blockchain as a very effective accounting and trading system, and versus the traditional way that you have an equity market or you build a website P2P, whatever. I think that's less efficient. So efficiency is our power. People always ask and challenge the efficiency of crypto, but when I tell you the overall crypto settles like 20 trillion US dollar a year, and only asking for 2 billion gas fee, which means only 1 base point transaction cost. It is actually much, much lower, 300 times lower than the global remittance cost. So if we can use that kind of transaction efficiency into smaller units of machine in the future, I think that's the way to think about this market.
Yeah, and that allows machine-to-machine communication, machine-to-machine payments, AI in the middle. Yeah. Io, what's our final take for DePIN global adoption?
I think crypto is still very small today, and we should look beyond the horizon. We should go out. I think the DePIN founders, or founders related to the word DePIN, they should look outside. Should try to find users not only limited to the crypto users. Crypto users are extremely expensive to acquire because they are so easy to get distracted by this meme coin, by that trading or DeFi. They are very, very limited group of people in the world. You should go out. You should go to your specific field, and raising attention from them, raising hardware raising hardware is raising capital. It's the same. Just trying to find your way of acquiring a new share of market. I think that will give you an edge in the long term. That is my take.
All right. Iyo, Will, Yushan, thank you so much. I'm very thankful that we have spent this last almost 1 hour together talking about the most exciting use case in the crypto space. If anyone is interested in investing in the machine economy, come to us after the panel. And thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your wonderful panel discussion. So please proceed off stage. Thank you very much. So the gentleman had just gave us a great insight on the new trends in DePIN and what to expect it in the future in DePIN. So moving on, we're going to have a keynote presentation, and the presentations will be on the topic of roam the world and connect the people. So we're going to invite our next speakers to come up on stage very soon. So please stay tuned with us. So for those who are new to our stage 2, please be seated. 那么马上呢会进行下一个环节。那如果大家是刚刚到的话，也可以移步来到我们台前，也可以入座。那记得要把你们的手提电话也调至静音模式。谢谢大家。So moving on, our next speakers is going to give us a keynote presentation, and this time will be on the topic of roam the world and connect the people. And I'm sure that all of our audience are now very eager to hear the insight from our next speaker. And now without any further ado, I'm going to pass on the stage to RJ, BD lead of Roam, to share with us. RJ, please.
Thank you. GM, everyone. Happy to be here. First time in Hong Kong and seeing all you. Today I'll be talking about Roam and what Roam is, how Roam can change your life, and how it can add to what you're doing already. So this is basically legal stuff, which basically means not financial advice. You can ignore it. So what is Roam? Roam is an open global decentralized wireless network which aims to connect 600 million Wi-Fis together and eventually provide a seamless internet connection to user at all times. We want to provide automatic, secure, and seamless connectivity for humans and AI to make sure their life becomes easier and better, and at the same time, they earn rewards while doing so. I'm happy to announce that Roam is the largest wireless DePIN network in the world, and we are growing every day, guys. Now, how does Roam do it, and why Roam is doing this? So the wireless connectivity these days is a fragmented area where users face a lot of issues like repetitive logins, it's not secure enough, people don't get rewarded, and it's also very expensive in some places. So Roam wants to tackle this and bring a user experience which is really good, easy, and they can adopt to it really in a one-step solution just with one app or one hardware piece. So how do we do it? The first aspect of the project is Roam Wi-Fi. Roam Wi-Fi is essentially a Wi-Fi router which helps you get connected to internet, and we use something called Open Roaming Protocol. So the easiest explanation I can give you for what open roaming is, so let's just say you walk into your house, right? You get connected to internet right away. You don't select the Wi-Fi, you don't input the password again, you just get connected. So that's what essentially open roaming is. If you have the Roam app, even in this room, you can get connected to Wi-Fi without even selecting which connection you want to make, and you can get rewarded while doing so. So Roam is the only Web3 project which has the Open Roaming Protocol IDP, and it is embedded in our hardware devices. You can buy our hardware devices today and deploy it at places such as a coffee shop or even your home and basically earn rewards. So we have the basic stuff like enterprise-grade security, seamless connections. But I also want to say the biggest plus point for any users here will be we have open roaming network nodes in over 190 countries and over 3.5 million network nodes. You can get connected right away with just the Roam app. So these miners that I'm talking about basically help you earn rewards, and you can control them using the Roam app. We have Wi-Fi 6E miners out today, which you can purchase, and we're already working on the Wi-Fi 7 miners, which will be launched later this year. Each roam miner comes with an open roaming node, and you will soon be able to develop apps and develop D-apps and deploy them on our roam miners and let other users enjoy the roam ecosystem. So how do you use and enjoy these rewards? So one of the most essential parts is the roam app. Roam app enables you to connect to all these devices because it embeds an open roaming certificate in your device. And at the same time, you can participate in a lot of gamified quests within the app. You can earn roam points. You can earn eSIM data. Basically, our end goal is stay connected always. Now, let's take a quick look at how roam grew and what we're doing now and what's going to be the future. The video. So as you guys know, we're based out of Vancouver. You can see that we have a lot of open roaming nodes and network nodes in Vancouver. But if you zoom out and scroll through the map, all of these are roam nodes which you can connect to right away. Countries like Nigeria, where we basically didn't even push that much, have grown into tremendous roam network node areas. And you can travel and get connected to each and every network node just using the roam app. Now, talking about Hong Kong, right? Everybody's in Hong Kong. You're connected to Wi-Fi. I'm connected to Wi-Fi. Just zoom in and see how many roam nodes are there in Hong Kong. I can bet you if you walk around Hong Kong and just use the roam app, you will get connected right away, and you can earn rewards. Talking about some of the numbers that we have, so you can see here, this Explorer is basically live on our website, and you can see it in real time. We have over 3 million Wi-Fi network nodes which you can get connected to, over 2.5 million registered users. At the same time, we have something called network growth, roam points balance, which you will be able to see. And it's been a great journey building since last 3 years and growing nonstop every day. All thanks to our community and all thanks to the network validators and builders that we are here where we are. And at the same time, we recently launched our roam token, and you can see how many people are using it, how many people have already burned it to use other services within the app. So the second way to stay connected using roam is the Roam Global Smart eSIM. Now, yes, we're working on Wi-Fi, but there are places where Wi-Fi still doesn't cover you, right? But we want you to be connected. We want you to have a wireless internet access at all times. How we bring that is using the Roam Smart Global eSIM. It is available in 180 plus countries. It is one eSIM that works everywhere. So you can basically fly from Hong Kong to France, France to Belgium, Belgium to US. You will still be connected using the eSIM, and you will be paying the local rates. There's no roaming charges. There's no hidden charges. We're the best in class and the cheapest in class for eSIM prices. Now, at the same time, if you engage with the roam Wi-Fi and you validate the network, it's your option whether you want the roam points as the reward or you want the roam eSIM data as the reward. So essentially, as long as you use the roam wireless routers, you can basically stay connected at all times for free, plus earn rewards while doing so. So the activation of the eSIM is one of the easiest and pretty much two-step solution. Let's check a video out for it. So you just download the Roam app. We have a promo code that people can use. Come to our booth at 15. We'll give you a promo code. Install the promo code. Go through the instructions. Activate the eSIM. Allow your device to install the eSIM. It's going to take a couple of seconds to connect. Activate. And you should be ready to go and roam the world. There you go. That's how easy it is to use our eSIM and install it on your phones and stay connected. Now, of course, connectivity is the big thing. Plus, rewarding is the next big thing that we want to give to the users. So our project has a really cool and innovative dual token model. One is the Roam points, and one is the Roam token. We, as a joke, say that we really started the point system in the crypto space and how people can leverage it. So with any engagement that you do on the Roam app, you earn Roam points. And you can convert these Roam points to the tokens using a really cool method called the burning process. So in the burning process, users have the access to the pools. Users control how much tokens they want. Users control when they want the tokens. So it is essentially like Bitcoin mining. When there's a lot of people in the pool, the reward ratio for the tokens is less. But when there's less people in the pool, the reward ratio for the tokens is a lot. We want to make it as decentralized as we can, and at the same time give power to the users. So for example, if you feel like, I don't want the token, I want to hold the points yet, so that's what you could do. If you want to convert the points to the token, so you can convert using the burning pool, and you could do it right away. So the points play an important part within the app. You can use the points to participate in in-app games, a lot of services that we provide. But at the same time, the token is also a core aspect of our project. Yes, we have DAO governance, but it's boring now. Nobody wants to pay attention to it. So with the Roam token, you can use a lot of the services that are within the app. For example, you can lock your Roam tokens and get eSIM data for 1 month, and then withdraw your Roam tokens. You can stake your Roam tokens. And eventually later this year, we're going to bring in VPN and CDN services, which users can use, again, with the Roam token. So I just want to thank everybody who's here, and I would like to invite you guys onto the Roam booth, F15. Come, engage with us, play with us. Happy to give you eSIM data and talk to you more about the project. Thank you guys, Roam the world. Download the app today on App Store and Google Play Store. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, RJs, for your presentations. So we're going to have our next sessions in a bit, so please stay tuned. And the next sessions will be about the roundtable discussion. So I'll see you at around 11:40 for the roundtable discussion. And then the roundtable discussions, our speakers will be talking about AI and DePIN. So see you in a bit. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So now we're going to move on to our roundtable discussion, and the topic will be AI and DePIN, new possibilities for all things. 那么现在呢，我们将进行一个圆桌讨论。那么讨论的主题是 AI 加 DePIN 万物齐治的晨曦。And now, without any further ado, I'd like to invite the following speakers to come up on stage. So first, I would like to invite Asa, APAC lead of IO.net. And moving on, I would like to invite Yuan Gao, co-founder of Gradient Network. And without any further ado, I would also like to invite Zhong Zhi, Global Infra Head, IoTX. And next, we will be having Neil Fields, CEO and founder of Arkreen. And last but not least, let's welcome Hatkant Sasikli, CBO of Innoverse. And now I'm going to pass over the stage to our moderator.
Test. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. And my name is Asa. I will be the moderator of this panel. I'm the Asia Pacific lead at IONET, and it's great to have this wonderful panel to talk about the future of AI and DePIN. So before we get started, let's just go around and do a quick round of introduction and have everyone know and talk a little bit about your project. How's that?
Hello, my name is Yuan. I'm the co-founder of Gradient Network. So basically, we are an edge compute platform on Solana. So currently, we are focusing on a few use cases. Bandwidth related, and also edge AI. So yeah, we'd love to share more details about the project. Great to be here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Zhi. I'm the global infra head of IoTX. And before IoTX, I working as a research scientist in Facebook for many years. And so IoTX is the decentralized modular infra platform for Internet of Things. Building a bridge between real world and blockchain. Our data aggregation platform, DePIN Scan, provides real data for DePIN projects, including the capital caps and the connected devices, as well as the trending news. And it covers 28 billion DePIN ecosystems. So as a leading DePIN infrastructure provider, IoTeX enables a new value distribution model by connecting the devices with on-chain and off-chain activity, and also transform the real personal devices into part of the shared economics and tokenize the data from everything. So I will like to share more about ArkreenDePIN in the following discussion.
Of course, thank you. Niels?
Hey, 大家好. I'm Nils. I work with Aukey. We're a collaborative machine perception platform. This is my colleague, Terry. He's an intern with the Humanoid Resources Department. We help devices like Terry and XR devices have a shared understanding of physical space. It's a DePIN for machine perception. What we help devices do is connect to hyperlocal compute resources and form trustless relationships with each other where they can exchange spatial data and spatial compute resources. We're based here in Hong Kong, and it's nice to be here. Thank you, Asa.
Oh my God, that's so cool. I would love to hear you talk more about how you made that machine possible. Yeah, and Hakan, is that the right pronunciation?
Yeah, Hakan, that's
Hakan.
right. Well, this is the first time I ever got to that close, to an humanoid robot.
He very rarely bites.
Really? Okay. My name is Hakan, coming all the way from Turkey, far from here. This is my fourth time in Hong Kong. Very exciting, as always. Good food, good people, good environment. I think combination of many different cultures. So we're building initwares. Basically, there are three things we're focusing on. The first one is L1, called AnyChain, and then we have cloud services, and then we have SaaS, where where you don't need to actually build an application from scratch. So yeah, those are the three things, which I'll get into details later on. Thanks.
Great. Yeah, and let's get into the details. So the first question, I would really love to hear more about like the origin story of each of your projects or the ideas you are working on. How do you come to this from what idea, from what background, or what problems are you trying to solve? And yeah, and who wants to? Again, do you want to go ahead? Yeah, I know you have a lot of experience in DePIN.
Yeah, so basically our main thesis is the compute infra is not going to be static forever, right? So I think 20 years ago, Andreessen Horowitz issued a thesis. So basically it said software is going to eat the world, right? So basically that's pretty much how things work right now, right? So at the same time, when that paradigm shift, the compute infra paradigm also shift, right? So the compute is coming from the on-premises compute to like a fully public cloud infra. So right now, there's another flipping point. AI is, I think AI is eating software. There's another big thesis happening. So I think when that happens, that would also change how compute is organized. So basically, our thesis is a lot of compute is going to the edge, especially when you think about a lot of agentic applications, embodied applications. So yeah, so we're working around to explore different opportunities, trying to build an open platform to aggregate all those resources together. And so we'll be having some very interesting demo showing by the end of this month. Stay tuned. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, wow, that's great. Thank you. And John, do you want to go next?
I'll be the next. So ArkreenDePIN was born out of the desire to bridge the physical world and the digital world in a trustless and verifiable way. So we saw a critical gap between the real-world data from devices and its lack of the credibility and the composability on chain. That current blockchain ecosystem is favor the financial use cases, and it poor at handling the real-world data from devices. So the AirTags try to address this issue by building a DePIN-first blockchain. And in that way, we have the native device identity as IOID on AirTags and the data provenance. And now AI layer to contextualize and make use of the data that are produced by the devices. And AirTags enable this new way, like the verifiable location, compute, storage, and sensor data for AI, smart cities, and the supply chain at settlers. It also unlocks the DePIN economy with trust minimized coordination between human, machine, and AI agents.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question on that. Yeah, I would really love to, because I think I had a deep discussion with IoTech's team about technical integration. And so can you potentially tell us more about what sort of ecosystem projects are building on the layer 1 so that like the builders out here can have an idea how can their projects integrate potentially with your layer 1?
Oh, yeah. So on our layer 1, so it's EVM compatible. So any defined like smart contract can be easily running on the layer 1 of AirTags. So in this way, that we can use the any mutual or advanced integration of the EVM compatible smart contracts. And meanwhile, so we have the one that I mentioned, the IOID, is the device identity on AirTags. So you know, almost all the IoT devices, they have an identity by themselves, but they don't have an identity on chain. So if we can easily like have the identity for the devices on chain, which means you can use them to either distribute rewards or have the identity for the data they produced on chain. And meanwhile, we have the off-chain compute middleware called WebStream. And it's based on the ZK proof. So any data that you think is compute heavy or privacy sensitive, we can use the ZK proof to generate a proof and simply verify it on the AirTags blockchain. And in this way, so the data computing is more efficient on blockchain. And I think it will be able to adopt more use cases on blockchain as well.
Thank you. Yeah, now I have a much better idea on why or what is like a DePIN first blockchain. Thank you for that. And Niels?
In 2019, I fell very deep into the augmented reality rabbit hole. The mushroom told me that augmented reality was an inevitable part of human language in the future. And I started an augmented reality startup where I wanted to do what I thought would be very simple overlays for the tabletop game Warhammer. But I didn't know anything about augmented reality when I started this company, so I didn't know how incredibly difficult this would be, because it turns out that physical devices, like my iPhone or Terry over here, don't have a good understanding of the space that they're in, and they certainly don't have a shared sense of the space where you're in. So the problem I ran into very quickly is if I want to leave an AR note on my tabletop game and I want everyone to see the same note, then every device has to have a shared understanding of precisely where they are in relation to each other and that note. And you cannot use the GPS for this. I didn't know that. Because the GPS is a line-of-sight technology. You need to see several satellites for it to be able to work. And even when you have line of sight, you only have a few meters of accuracy. Like Asa, if you checked your phone right now, do you think your GPS knows you're sitting in that chair? Barely knows you're on this floor, right? And I realized that this is going to be a problem for a lot more than augmented reality. This is going to be a problem for the future of robotics. It's going to be a problem for the future of the metaverse if you believe, like I believe, that the metaverse is going to happen here, not up there. To get two pieces of scale that I think are really meaningful, especially here where we're in Asia. Since GPS is line of sight, it doesn't work very well in big cities with tall buildings, right? New York is the biggest city in the West. It has over 900 buildings taller than 100 meters. But here in Hong Kong, just in Hong Kong, is over 4,000, right? And in the Greater Bay Area, which is, Hong Kong to Guangzhou, technically an area smaller than Greater Los Angeles, are more high-rise buildings than all of North America and all of Europe combined, right? So by the standards of this century, there are no big cities in the Western world. Like, all the big cities are in Asia. And the Greater Bay, if you count it as a city, like I do, is the biggest city in the world, already twice the size of Tokyo, on a very comparable area. Another piece of scale that I think is meaningful, I used to live in Beijing for 7 years, and Beijing is another very, very big city. In fact, Beijing is so big that there are more cars on the road in Beijing than there are people in Los Angeles. And the average commute by car in Beijing is around 2 hours. So if you do a quick back of the napkin calculation, you find that roughly the time it took to build the pyramids is lost in Beijing traffic every single week. So around that time, when I lived in Beijing, Naval Ravikant wrote a blog post saying that the internet is missing a fifth protocol that would allow future robots, self-driving cars, AI, things like this, negotiate the use of scarce resources like the road for things like lane merges with each other. This was back in 2014. And he argued that blockchain is going to become this trade layer for the internet. But by 2019, when I was working on this AR thing, I realized, wait, there's a sixth protocol missing too, because these cars won't be able to negotiate lane merges, etc., if they can't talk to each other about space. Like, where are they relative to each other? How fast are they moving? Are we going to have a collision or not? So by 2021, we pivoted away from tabletop games to trying to solve the sixth layer that we think is missing from the internet, a universal spatial computing protocol.
Yeah, thank you. What you said really inspired me, because I remember I used to read this book by Yuval Noah Harari, and that beautifully argued where fully autonomous and connected systems are much more efficient than just like individual human brains trying to calculate the local optima. So like, if all the cars on the street can talk to each other and optimize on at least a local, like a global scale, that would make our traffic and our roads so much better. And that the same applies to like robotics and every other connected and automated systems. And just on that note, I feel it connects really well back to what Gradient Network is building here, right? Like, we
I was
need
just gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, well, we need this like little computer on the edge everywhere. We cannot just like all talk to one central NVIDIA or Google Cloud server in somewhere in Nevada or something, because that's never the delay. That's never going to work. And of course, excited to hear more about that technology in this conversation. And I think onto you, Hakan.
Sure. I've really literally enjoyed enjoyed listening to all speakers, in particular, like as a person who had spent 10 years in Beijing, so I can confirm all the info that he just gave. Actually, like many people.
What years?
Actually, till last year, I lived in Beijing for 10 years. So
very nice. Crazy
time, and yeah, pollution, but now it's getting much better. More cars than, as you said, the people. I think that was interesting statistics that I didn't know. So basically, our story is. So we know there's a growing tension between data privacy and all this like AI models that we see around. There are so many blockchains around. We know we also get this question: why do you build? Why do you build L1? And we know there are tons of different L1s, L2s are trying to scale in a different way. But what we see is, again, like mostly focusing on data privacy. Like, imagine yourself as a person who is at hospital and you're uploading your scans to an AI model, which reveals all the information, including those like confidential, whatever, like private data. So we don't want that to happen. So our focus is actually on privacy, like keeping the balance between transparency, which is one of the core components of blockchain, right? Decentralization and transparency, and how to keep balance between those. Like we want both transparency at the same time. We want partially privacy. You can apply to like enterprises, companies, like RWA, right? Where you want to keep like we know a lot of companies who are launching their own L1. They want transparency to a certain extent. They don't want fully exposed users' information, data, just like banks. So we were inspired by fully homomorphic encryption, which is basically based on encrypted smart contracts, where you don't have to reveal, all the data and information. So this is actually what we currently are building. Thank you.
Wonderful. And just on that note, let's start with you again on the second question around technology, right? Because I think you just mentioned that. So the second question is, what are some of the design choices or trade-offs you have made when designing and thinking about the product experience or the technical experience? Because maybe, for example, with FHE, I have done some of my homework into it, and I feel one of the challenges with FHE is that it's very computationally expensive. So it takes a lot of overhead to just calculate 1 + 1 = 2 or 1 + 1 = 2 in the FHE way. So I wonder, how do you think about maybe the design choice around that, or just around any number of other things when you are thinking about the chain and how it's like uniquely positioned?
And another actually question is being asked is about like your question and plus decentralization. And that's also one of the questions that has been discussed previously in the previous panel. I was here, had the chance to listen, and I want to touch upon the decentralization part here in particular, which is also like very core component of blockchain technology. So there are trade-offs, but we know this, like there are thousands of DAOs, so-called like decentralized autonomous organization. They call themselves DAOs. In particular, like I'm not sure, like you as a person in Beijing who lived in Beijing, if you're in the crypto space for a long time, you had one time, like I think 2-3 years back from now, literally every community had formed their own DAOs. They said we're DAO, but they without knowing actually what DAO is, what DAO means. So where's decentralization here? Where's transparency here? Like how do you make this decision-making process, how do you what, blah, blah, blah. So, and basically you can apply the same thing to, everything in blockchain, like including L1, L2s, whatever application you're using. So there is no, like, I would say 100% decentralization no matter what. So if a person saying so, I think, I don't believe. So to a certain extent, you need to have humans, you cannot make it at the cost of or sacrificing from user experience, whatever interfaces that facilitates user or Web3 adoption, whatever. So we need to have human beings there. So we're using this algorithm and also mechanism called fully homomorphic encryption. Yes, it actually consumes a lot of data, and we have the same issues with ZK, right? Zero knowledge proof, so much computational power you consume. And then we actually have DDA, which actually adjusts this blocks to, in a way that, some part of you can use CPU. Currently, we are at this stage, actually very early stage. You can use like general purpose, devices, CPU-based devices, where you can, be part of the ecosystem of blockchain. And at the same time, we're proceeding to now GPU and then Isaac, which is most advanced. And later on, we're going to be consuming a lot of, like we will need actually, that requires, if you want this privacy-based, like encrypted smart contract and etc., it consumes a lot of computational power. So that's why, like, it's just a stage that we're proceeding to. Probably it will take a while. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the walkthrough. And Niels, I see you want to jump in. Go for it.
I was just going to say that I've learned that a DAO is any organization that votes to give itself the treasury, right?
Probably. Particularly in Asia, probably, yeah.
I think for robotics and physical AI, there are some very painful trade-offs that you have to make because latency is more important for XR and robotics than really for any mainstream internet use case so far. Like I used to be a competitive gamer, and if I had a ping time of 20 milliseconds, I'd be pretty satisfied. You know, like you can play well on 20 milliseconds, but 20 milliseconds is dangerously high latency if you're doing collaborative spatial computing, because a lot of stuff happens in the real world in 20 milliseconds. If you're teleoperating a robot, meaning that you're controlling a robot remotely, and you have 20 millisecond latency to that robot, that means that you've more than doubled your reaction time. So if you're moving your heavy robotic arm around and someone steps in front of you, you're not going to be able to react on that on time. And if we have cars that are trying to coordinate with each other and they are not talking to each other with low latency, they're going to crash. So physical AI, robotics, XR, these things need lower latency than really anything on the internet so far. And that also means that you don't have the luxury, in my opinion, for things like robotics and XR to play with these amazing new technologies like CK and FHE, because there's no time. And so how do you tackle privacy in such a real-time environment? And to kind of set the stage for this, I need to tell you guys a little bit about how are people solving the problem of positioning without GPS? Like, what are people doing? And it turns out that all the major tech companies, Tesla, Apple, Google, Microsoft, literally all of them have embraced this approach called visual positioning. They may call it something else, spatial anchors, something like this, but really what it is you compare what you are looking at to a 3D model of the world. And anytime you do a computational comparison, both those data sets have to be in the same place. So that means either I'm going to send my whole world model down to your XR glasses, which is not practical, that's not going to happen, or I'm going to ask you to send the camera feed of your glasses to me, and that is 100% of the time what happens. And when I realized this back when I was working more in XR, this made me very, very nervous about the future of humanity, because if you believe, like I believe, that within a couple of years, a lot of us are going to be wearing AR glasses, that's maybe the biggest privacy threat that humanity has faced so far. Like, Mark Zuckerberg has been able to know what we post on the internet for a long time, but Elon is going to be able to know what your wife keeps in her bedroom drawer because there's a robot in your home. And that's no joke. Like, just a couple of months ago, Elon was on Lex Friedman's podcast and said that his humanoid robot Optimus is going to be the greatest source of data in the world. It's going to be the greatest source of data in the world. So it's 100% his plan to spy on us in our homes when we buy these robots, right? He's not even embarrassed about it. He's happy to share it on a podcast. So those are two very big problems for robotics and XR, latency and privacy. And the way we chose to tackle this was to decentralize the visual positioning stack. So what does that mean? Well, we've embraced polycentric decentralization, meaning essentially we want to reduce the privacy impact to the privacy that's already been lost today. And to do that, we make it a relationship just between the visitor and the venue. So when you visit the mall and your future AR glasses connects to the VPS system of the mall, then the mall might know what you're looking at. But they already know because they have CCTV cameras on you. But I won't know, and Mark won't know, and Elon won't know. So you decentralize the visual positioning stack by allowing the visual positioning system to be a network of venues that serve maps instead of building one big map of the world. And I think this is very important because even the other Web3 visual positioning systems that are being built, because we are not the only VPS in Web3, there's also the amazing guys at OVR and at MeshMap. They are still choosing as a business model to be the central repository where this world model gets built. So Niantic, the makers of Pokemon Go, they made a huge world model by spying on us when we play Pokemon Go. But they still had decentralized data collection. You know, they collected data from us. And now Web3 is doing the same thing, but they're giving us token rewards. But that doesn't change that all of this data is ending up with OVR or with MeshMap. So the way we wanted to tackle this at Auki is a commitment to we are going to have none of the data. Literally none of the data is going to be with us. We're going to make this decentralized in the way that each venue is responsible for running their own visual positioning system.
Yeah, of course. And you see all the big tech talk about like they don't have enough data to train their AI models. You know, that's what's going to happen if we leave our data to the big tech. Yeah, John, do you want to go next?
So in crypto, or maybe all the industries, we always request higher throughput, shorten response time, and less cost. And so in essence, the problem is whether the technical capacity can meet the growing demands. Like making a trade-off is one of the ways to address this problem. And for Artex, like in 2018, when we first start building this blockchain, we observed that both BTC and Ethereum has the problem in their consensus mechanism that they need a large portion of their nodes to participate in the consensus process, which result in inefficiency and significant waste of computing resources. At that time, we trade off the consensus a little bit with a new proposed consensus protocol called the delegated low depose. So in that way, the Artex blockchain consensus can run very fast, and it's still decentralized and flexible to optimize the speed and scale. Of course, it's a trade-off between the efficiency and decentralization. But from an engineer's perspective, so I do believe that the technological progress is the key to solving the technological challenges. And so the best way to resolve the problem is to keep exploring and adopting new techniques. Like the ZK proof, the zero knowledge proof is an excellent example for that. As I mentioned previously, for our off-chain, the computing middleware, we use the ZK proof to do the complex off-chain computing. And so for on-chain, we just need a very simple, relatively simple verification on-chain. And in this way, we expand the use case of our blockchain. And this is the way that I say no trade-off by using the technique to resolve the problem. And returning to the consensus issue, so at that time, I also new to the blockchain technique. So, and gradually we learn more and more. And in the third quarter, Artex will further reduce the block time to 1 second without sacrificing any decentralization. So we improve the efficiency, but without sacrificing the decentralization, which is opposite of what we did in 2018. And I think that so all these cases prove that technique is the the key to resolve these issues relies in technique.
Yeah, thank you. I loved how your position of this like technical optimist, because like the throughput, the processing power, and everything about the hardware we have is constantly improving. So that's of course gonna drive the quality of the service and the quality of the blockchain better over time, right? Yeah, and finally, and I really cannot wait for Yuan to tell us more about edge networks, because I think we have talked so much about it already.
Sorry, the question is about like how we design the protocol?
Yeah, or like product design decisions, or any trade-offs you have faced, or any challenges you are solving.
Sure. So basically, I want to talk about like the very grand architecture of our system. So basically, when we are trying to deliver edge compute from a client to a customer, I think at the bottom part, it has to be a very strong peer-to-peer networking, right? So if you are delivering some compute results from one party to another party, if I go through a relayer, so that creates a lot of latency, a lot of data traffic, and also create privacy issue. So at the bottom, it has to be peer-to-peer. So I think in the past several months, we have been working very hard to do actually a global experiment. So the product is called SentryNode. Basically, we'll create this browser plugin. Everyone can just download in like a second. And people can, like two arbitrary nodes in the world can connect with each other. Basically, that's what they do. And we record all the latency, all the NAT status, and all the network-related characteristics. So I think that's a very big part of what we're trying to do in the future. Because if you don't have a very strong peer-to-peer connection network at the bottom, then you cannot deliver. So that's at the bottom. And so our second layer is a resource aggregation layer, right? So software-defined network is very powerful right now. So I think in the past, when you talk about cloud, it's most likely homogenized or semi-homogenized. But right now, our software is so capable that we can control different kind of heterogeneous compute resources, aggregate them, virtualize them, and commoditize them to a single unified layer. So I think in our vision, that's the second layer. And the third layer is an orchestration layer. Because there are so many different use cases, it's very hard for developer to understand the whole stack and to build upon it. So what we're trying to do is we want to build middlewares and some use cases to showcase the developers, okay, you can very easily tap into this resource pool and trying to build your applications. So I think in the traditional DePIN network, most likely you are building your own supply side and demand side. But I think our vision is you don't have to rebuild the wheel again by yourself. There's a huge pool of compute resources you can tap into very easily. In terms of design choices, we want to keep it as modular, as practical as possible. Because I'm a big believer of technical optimism. So some of the problems like ZK proofs, FHE, right now it seems very difficult. But I think in a couple of years, iterations, things will become much more economically viable. So yeah, that's my idea on it.
Yeah, thank you for that. And of course, I feel one of the most exciting promise of DePIN is that we are able to create this unified single interface to make use of these otherwise heterogeneous resources from all across the world. And yeah, and we spend a lot of time talking about this very exciting technical stuff. We are running a little bit short on time, so let's skip to the final quick fire question. That is, what's the most exciting thing that happened to you personally or to your project in 24? And what are you looking for or looking forward to in 425? What can our community, our audience, or people who are looking at our projects expect or be excited about in the coming year?
I can start for this one.
Go ahead.
So in 2024, we launched the AirTags 2.0, and which is introducing a modular infra and enhancing the support for DePIN projects and setting a stage for DePIN and AI convergence. So our ecosystem expanded to over 200 projects, including 50 DePIN initiatives, which solidifying the AirTag's position as the leading DePIN ecosystem. We also rolled out the IOID, which I mentioned previously, for the on-chain device identity and WebString for verifiable real data integration. And for community engagement, we successfully host the real-world serial and which is for the collaboration among the developers of DePIN and AI. And for 2025 and beyond, I think we will be focusing on merging the DePIN and AI, and to enable the physical AI and sensual agents, allowing AI systems to interact with the real-world data. And last month, we launched the Quicksilver, which is an open-source platform for combining large language model with DePIN data to facilitating the advanced AI applications. And we will continue the US market expansion, strengthen the presence in the US through partnership with institutions and platform. So Artex is the chair of the DePIN work group in the US Blockchain Association. So we will continue to work with the other AI companies or the tech lead to advance the and drive the innovation and modernize the infrastructure through DePIN solutions.
Thank you. And
working in AI and robotics, it's easy to worry about, am I the bad guy helping build things that will take our jobs tomorrow? So one of the things that was a personal highlight for me last year was seeing how using spatial AI, making the physical world accessible to AI could help make the physical world more accessible to people with disabilities. Two things that we managed to accomplish last year was helping blind people navigate a physical space. We helped, for example, one blind person navigate to the bathroom for the first time just on his own using a phone, which was a goosebumps moment for me, but also helped cognitively impaired workers in a retail environment, according to their colleagues, start operating at the same level as their peers. And I think that's one of the biggest promises of spatial AI in particular, is that we can start helping people in the physical world do better. And that was a big highlight for me.
thank you. That's really sweet. Okay.
Yeah. Last year, I mean, if it's a private question, and I will answer in that way. So the most exciting thing happened to me was to meet a lady that I will marry in a month.
Wow.
That was the most exciting one for me. But when it comes to getting back to the product, we completed testnet successfully, had thousands of smart contracts deployed, hundreds of thousands of transactions completed successfully. That was important for us. And in the past, basically, we were refraining from participating in such events. I mean, having booth and organizing so many events because the product was not ready. But from this year on, we're going to be very active, getting in touch with the ecosystem leaders so that they can come and build with us. We learn from one another. That's what we think and believe. Thank you.
That's great to hear.
So I think we're still a very young project. We actually just launched last September during the breakpoint. So the thing probably I'm most excited about is in the past 5 months, so we have seen tremendous growth in our network. Right now we're running around like 3 million concurrent users as I speak right now. So that's it's very rewarding, but also creates a very challenging position for our infra team to keep that scale open. And I think next month we will be releasing 2 very, very exciting demos. I'm very proud of. So yeah, that's another exciting part this year. Yeah. Thank you.
And so everyone, please be on the watch out for new releases coming out of Gradient. And thank you everyone for having this wonderful discussion.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your wonderful roundtable discussions. Please proceed off stage. I'm sure that through the presentations and discussions of these gentlemen on stage, we get to know more about AI and DePIN. 那么现在呢，我们会有一个午休的时间。那么下午的环节呢，会在1点45分准时开始。那么待会再见。So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a lunch break right now, and the afternoon sessions will begin at 1:45 p.m. So see you very soon.